Welcome back to our second module of Pencil Profit, and today for this episode I brought something different here. I brought this. This is a max score SAT essay, so that's the essay you have to do in order to get accepted into the best universities. If you want to go into Harvard, if you want to go into Yale, you have to go through the SAT test, and part of the test is to write an essay. This is a max score SAT essay, and some people would call this the pinnacle of writing because it takes literally years to achieve something like this. It takes a lot of studying. You have to read like countless books of grammar and essays and write a bunch of essays in order to get here, probably hundreds and hundreds of them, in order to get something like this, a max score SAT essay. And I wanted to read it for you here. And pay attention to this because this is going to be very, very important to what we're going to learn here in Pencil Profit. This is an essay titled Let There Be Dark. At my family's cabin on the Minnesota lake, I knew woods so dark that my hands disappeared before my eyes. I knew skies in which meteors left smoky trails across sugary spreads of stars. But now, when 8 of 10 children born in the United States will never know a sky dark enough for the Milky Way, I worry we're rapidly losing night's natural darkness before realizing its worth. This winter solstice, as we cheer the day's gradual movement back toward light, let us also remember the irreplaceable value of darkness. All life evolved from the steady rhythm of bright days and dark nights. Today, though, when we feel the closeness of nightfall, we reach quickly for a light switch. And too little darkness, meaning too much artificial light at night, spells trouble for all. Already the World Health Organization classifies working the night shift as a probable human carcinogen, and the American Medical Association has voiced its unanimous support for light pollution reduction efforts and glare reduction efforts at both the national and state levels. Well, basically this essay goes on and on for a while like this. My point here, by bringing this to you, is first, it's very important. I'm gonna leave the link to this essay on the description of this video, and I want to download it. And I wanted to print it out because I wanted to do something with it. What I wanted to do with this is throw it away. Because that right here, it's a terrible piece of copy. It's terrible. It's nothing like we do here. And I say that not because what we do here is above that. It's more complex than that. Quite the opposite. What we do here is very simple. And that is way, way, way too complex to what we do here. And if you really think about it, everything that I just read, what did you get from it? What was the message of the first 2 paragraphs there in the essay? What was it saying, really? What was it about? I don't really know. Like the darkness of my hands in the sky and the lights. It's like a very complex and difficult message to understand. And I want you to understand this. If you have to think about the message, it is a shitty message. It is not a well-written message. By using this complex vocabulary, you're not achieving your goal here, which is to communicate a simple message. When it comes to copywriting, simplicity is key. Simplicity is the ultimate level of sophistication. What we do here, again, is very simple. We don't want any of those complex messages here. And that's why I say that you don't have to be good at writing to become a good copywriter. In fact, and this is the very counterintuitive part here, the best writers are not good copywriters. Usually when a person is a good writer, the one that writes those type of essays, they are terrible copywriters. The reason as to why that's bad writing is because what is the message saying there? What is it actually saying, the message there? The message is saying, look at how good I am. Look at how smart I am. Look at these words that I'm using, how complex they are, how fancy they are, and how well structured my essay is. That's what this essay is saying. It's not about the dark skies. It's not about the Milky Way. It's not about the lights. It's about flexing through your words how smart you were and how good you were at writing. That's not what we do here. We don't care about how good you were at writing. In fact, if you're flexing that and if people are noticing that you're very good at writing, you're probably doing yourself a disservice because the main center focus of attention of your message should be the message itself, what you're trying to say. It's as if we were trying to have a conversation with the prospect here. We don't want him to pay attention to the words we're using, but to the message we're trying to convey. And if people have to think about what that message is, you're not doing a good job here to convey this message. So we don't want to have any of that complex writing here. That doesn't help at all. That doesn't do the job that we wanted to accomplish here, which is getting a simple message across. I wanted to write this down. You want to communicate as if you're talking to 10-year-olds. So if you can write to a level where 10-year-olds can understand, you are good enough to write copy, and probably you're way better than the people who are writing to 30-year-olds to understand. We want to communicate simple messages because people, they don't buy the best products with the best message, with the fancy words and the most beautiful paragraphs that build the sales pitch. No. People buy the ideas that are most simple to understand. They buy simple products that are easy to understand. And if your message is simple and easy, that's what gets the sale. And here, we don't care about looking fancy. We don't care about using those beautiful words that make you look like an authority. We care about making money. We care about making the sale. And we care about getting the message across through simple messages in order to get the sale. So that's why if you're telling yourself, oh, I cannot do this because I'm not a good writer, that's actually not a problem. That's an advantage. You have an advantage over the people that write well because you don't have this bad habit of trying to use complex vocabulary in your copy. So it's going to be way easier for you to write than it's going to be for a very experienced essay writer to write copy that sells. I like to think about this like those action movies where the guy throws all those fancy kicks, the spinning wheel kicks, whatever it is. And it looks fancy, it looks cool in the movies for sure, but in practice, it doesn't work. If you try to do that on a fight, you're gonna get your ass kicked. If you watch any MMA, you're gonna know that those spinning kicks, they work every once in a while, very, very rarely, when you get the right spot, the right time, and the right movement. But majority of the times, they work against you because they're the fancy move that doesn't get the job done. If you get a guy that does all those fancy moves on movies against a very basic MMA fighter, with a simple 1-2 combination, he can knock that guy out. And it's the same here with copy. A simple, well-written message, it's gonna knock out an essay like that every single time. And that's why I say that a perfect 10 essay that you had on school, the grammar, lessons and everything, that's a terrible piece of copy. A 10 out of 10 essay is a terrible piece of copy. Remember that. The fact is, I'm not a clever wordsmith or a very naturally talented writer. I just have a few frameworks that I follow, and when I follow them, I can write high converting copy, very simple messages that get people to take action. And that's all we care about here. So what I want you to do now is take all the grammar books you have there sitting in your home and throw them away because they don't serve any purpose here. In fact, we have like 4 tools we really need here in order to write high converting copy. First one is a computer. You need a computer. You cannot write copy from your phone. It's going to be a little bit bad. Probably need a computer in order to do that. Ideally a laptop because then you can travel, you can do whatever you want, you can work from whatever you want, right? Second one is an internet connection. That's an important one because if you go to a paradisiac island, you gotta make sure you have internet there to work. So those are the only 2 main requirements, I would say. Then there are 2 other optionals, but I would say they're very, very important. The first one is Grammarly. We're talking about grammar. You don't need to read the grammar books. You have this little software called Grammarly that helps you write better messages. It just says, oh, the sentence doesn't look good. Just change it this, and that, and it's going to be better. And the understanding of the people who read the sentence is going to get better as you change it that way. And it just gives you all the suggestions about how to write a little bit better. So that's the one software I recommend you get. We have a link for it in the description if you want to get it. And also another one that you probably already know about is ChatGPT, because now, even if you're not a creative person, that's something that pops up a lot when it comes to writing copy, is that you need to be a creative person. I'm going to show you on the next module why that's not true at all. But even here and there, when you need that creativity, we now have access, all of us. We have access to the world's most powerful brain, which is artificial intelligence. We now all have access to ChatGPT, and we can fit it with a few commands, with a few prompts that I'm going to show you in order to help us write these very simple messages, that high converting copy that makes sales. And I'm going to show you that next. Now, the fact is, the most important thing to have here is just those structures, those frameworks you follow when you write a message. And I'm gonna give you next. And with those frameworks, you can be writers that are way more talented than you. You can be those type of writers every single time as long as you follow the right framework. And that's why you don't need to be a very experienced writer. You don't need to be a very talented writer in order to write high converting copy and beat all the naturally talented writers out there. And now before we go into any of the copy structures, I just want to cover how you can actually make money with this? There are basically 3 ways. The first one is to get a job. That's the most simple way and the easiest way to get started with, is just get a job as a copywriter, as a mail writer, as a tweet writer, whatever it is. I'm gonna go over how to get a job later and what are the best jobs, but just know that getting a job is the first option, and then you're gonna get paid a salary. And the real beauty of this position here is that at first you're just gonna get paid a salary, but as you get better, you can start to negotiate profit shares, so you can get paid commissions on top of that, which means that your income has no cap, it's not limited. You can always make more money by not having to work more, just by writing better copy that sells more. So that's a very good benefit of this specific position, which is one of the only roles, one of the only jobs in the world that allow you to make more money without having to work more. In fact, when you get good at it, it allows you to make more money working less. The second option is to work with clients. Instead of having a job, you can work with multiple clients at the same time, and usually you get paid more if you do so because you're working with multiple businesses instead of working with one. Of course, it's more work as well, but you get paid more. It has its pros and cons, and I'm gonna go over them on the last module of this phase when I give you the plan to make $10,000 a month as a copywriter. And then that's the second option, is working with clients. And then the third option we have, the last option we have, is for you to create your own business. You can literally create either a copywriting business or even a business that sells supplements, that sells info products, that sells information, that sells courses. Whatever it is that you want to sell, you can create e-commerce stores, you can create a bunch of different businesses and apply those principles to sell your product and enjoy of all the perks that come with having a business, which is you don't have to trade your time for money, you can outsource all of your work, and whatever it is, the scale that you get with a business, you can tap into that by applying the principles of what you're gonna learn here. Cool? So those are the 3 ways. And next, I'm gonna talk about the 2 different schools of marketing, schools of copywriting, before I get you into how to actually write copy. And it's very important for you to understand that. So with that being said, let's get into it on the next module.